There's hope on the horizon, though, and that hope comes in the form of Indiana Jones.
Oh no.
Because I know you guys are excited to see an Indiana Jones movie after like 15 years. We clearly need another one. But hey, they've produced another trailer. Like we got a teaser for it a couple of weeks back, and now they produced the first official trailer for it. And I've only seen it once, so I'm kind of interested to hear your guys' reactions. If I can just play it here and see what you think.
This is
So
one of the
I'll
most
have to.
this is one of those here we go again moments. Like, did we do all this last time with Temple of Aliens or whatever the hell it was called? Like, why are we doing this again? It's like, well, because that's how it works.
I may have to pause it like fairly regularly just so I don't get the stream demonetized. But well, I'll do what I can anyway. Just in case you were wondering, Indy is really old now.
And he's like a fresh out
Really
of
old.
the eras.
Let's shine a light on it. Let's turn this into a remake of Grumpy Old Men. Okay, gotcha.
It's so funny, like when your previous movie from like a decade and a half ago featured Indy getting old, and then you're doing another one.
God, and this is God. We're now like what 5-6 years removed from Blade Runner 2049, where he was shambling around in like Walmart clothes and whatever, like in his condo, right? As if the point of that wasn't to make him seem old. Now we're gonna do it again, right? Jesus.
He is 80. So Harrison Ford is 80 years old, and well,
there's a couple songs I think that I would pick for this, but "Sympathy for the Devil" might be the most overused fucking song in like media ever. I feel like I've heard this everywhere.
No, I think Nirvana, "Come as You Are." I think that may have it.
Well, I was gonna say there's a couple of examples. I think what was crazy is "I Need a Hero." That was in Shazam, Tetris, and Mario.
Yeah,
Shazam, Tetris, and Mario. They all came out within a month. It's like, fucking hell.
Yep. Remember the 80s, Mauler?
Yep.
Remember when there was a music industry?
Yeah.
I'm retiring.
Well, in that case, what are we drinking?
Same for the goddaughter.
Oh, God.
Why would you say that to a bartender? As if the bartender's going to give a shit that she's your goddaughter.
The bartender's like, thank you. I actually didn't know the connection. That's a very, very simple way of putting it. Yeah.
Indiana Jones. No, I don't understand what that is, guys. Is at the end of the day, it's just, hey, let's piggyback this character off the established guy that you actually give a fuck about. That's all that was. That's all that line existed for. 100%.
Bait and switch. Remember when Indy had a son? Remember that? Remember? And he was like, it was hinted at that he was going to follow Indy's footsteps in the previous movie, and then he doesn't exist anymore. Let's just forget about Matt.
Something on a train during the war. A dial that could change the course of history.
Why are you chasing the thing that drove your father crazy?
Why would you call it a dial as well? Like this goes back to the title, but like it's such a fucking dumb name, the Dial of Destiny.
I know, dude. And with how this is opening up, it should be Indiana Jones and the sensibly priced condo of Boca Raton at this point. It's terrible, dude. It's such a long-winded title. It doesn't have any of that. Like these are supposed to be kind of a takeoff, right, on the old adventure serials of like the 30s and 40s, the Alan Quatermain and the Golden Treasure, right, and the Golden City and the Lost Civilization of Blegadorf, right. That's what all these titles are supposed to be evocative. The Dial of Destiny? What? Like, that doesn't exactly fit into the Lost Civilization of Zangarth. It not exactly in the same cachet.
Yeah.
It's not evoking much for the audience, is it?
Therefore, it's good.
I'm not even sure what to think of it. Dial of Destiny. What is that?
It's so bad, it's almost too easy to meme. So just how terrible and incommensurate it is with actual adventure titles sort of slips by, honestly.
Don't move.
We need to get out of here. Stop! Sorry.
Helena!
Well, I guess they need to make it clear that she can adventure better than he can. She's just leaving him behind because he's old and she's better than him. Why does Phoebe Waller-Bridge keep getting gigs? Like, what is her thing? Like, does she know where the bodies are buried or something?
I think the calculation is that in stuff like Fleabag, she demonstrated that she could make not an exclusively male or female audience laugh, but she can make a mixed audience laugh. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is occasionally capable of telling jokes that men will laugh at. And so she's went through this period where she was seen as, I think, this kind of this golden sort of ticket to movie success. That this is how you can do a good, universally enjoyable film, because here's someone who's just kind of funny sometimes, and not in a way that pisses people off. That's a long time ago now, though, and it's a bit like Simon Pegg in that respect. Simon Pegg is now probably well beyond his talent
Simon
potential. And is just sort of, but he's there now. He's attached. He's connected. He knows everyone. He's attached to everything. And what started as just, hey, here's a guy who can make geek stuff funny, has become, it's Simon Pegg. Let's give him control of Star Trek. And it's just, it's laziness, and it's sort of, not nepotism is the wrong word, but it's certainly a kind of ossification, I think, of the talent pool.
Well, I think,
and
in his case,
the fact that she has a uterus also helps in general, and you can clearly see from space that if this is even remotely successful, or they can even spin this as remotely successful, we will get Indiana Jane and the Themple of Womb, later on. That's going to happen, right? If it's successful, which I think is a fairly remote possibility at this point.
Well, I mean, from what I've heard, like with the amount of money that they had to spend initially on it, and then the very extensive reshoots that have still, apparently they're still going on, this movie is going to be in the $300 million range, just from the sheer, like, getting Harrison Ford back, doing all the special effects, doing all the shooting. There's no way it's going to make that. No way it's going to make that budget back.
Dr. Jones, get him. Hitler made mistakes, and with this, I will correct them all. You stole it. And you stole it.
And then I stole it.
This
I
is...
really resist the idea of the funny of being like, the villain will be like, I'm going to do what Hitler did, but better.
Again with the Nazis. Like, that's literally what we're doing here.
All the rumors about this were true. Like,
All
it
of
was
it.
all going to be about, like, time traveling back to the 1940s, so we get to see Indy during World War II. And the original premise was that he was going to get killed at the end of it, and then Phoebe Waller-Fuckbag was going to take over and like do all the shit that he did, but better.
Yeah.
That was going to be it. And I don't know if they're going to stick with that, but it kind of seems like that's what they're doing here.
And I like Mads Mikkelsen. Mads Mikkelsen can do a brilliant villainous turn. He's got great presence. He's quite a good actor as well. When he's actually playing a character.
Yeah, playing a character.
The problem is that they don't really do that anymore. Character writing is kind of down the pan, and everything I've seen him in recently, it's kind of been like a knockoff version of Hannibal. And Hannibal was great, but like I'm happy seeing Hannibal in Hannibal. I didn't really need to see Hannibal in the Fantastic Beasts movie when he was basically playing Hannibal. I don't really need to see Nazi Hannibal in this either. So as much as I love Mads Mikkelsen, maybe.
By the way, he was in
like-
a really good Western a few years ago called The Salvation with Ava Green. It was really good.
Back when Marvel movies were different, kind of like annoying or bad at their worst. Like I used to hate like wasting talent was one of the things they did, and Mads Mikkelsen showing up in Doctor Strange and Rogue One, both roles, very limited dialogue and barely any character. It's just like, why the fuck do you hire people like that and then don't do anything with them?
Wait, I actually disagree. I don't even think this is a takeoff on Hannibal. This is like just this side of Snidely Whiplash. It's like Snidely Whipmensch, it's like a just generic Nazi guy.
It's like to give it the veneer of legitimacy. It's like, see, look, we've hired competent actors for this movie, so that must make it good, right?
Yeah.
Support it, god damn you.
It's called capitalism.
Oh,
The full line was you stole it, I stole it back. That's called capitalism, I think was the whole line.
Yep.
I was
Yeah.
wondering if the film was going to address the slightly awkward modern attitude to, taking artifacts and putting them in museums where they might actually be taken care of, because that's a bad thing. So, I'm sure that we'll get a bit more of that. And you don't need that in an Indiana Jones
Make the
film.
film really fun and super relatable.
Who wants to
it's so
set their
funny.
stopwatch to the exact moment when they will utter the line, "You belong in a museum"? Who wants to set that top?
Oh, yeah.
It'll be in the film. Book it.
Wasn't there a rumor that her whole shtick was that she'd be returning artifacts to like the cultures that they were stolen from originally? That was her aim as a
God.
character,
Like a
and I could
reverse Carmen
totally,
San Diego.
I could totally buy that. Yeah, because it's like they have to retcon characters like Indiana Jones, like Lara Croft, because how dare you recover valuable artifacts and like preserve them in museums? No, they have to be left in the whatever god awful place that you found them, so that they
We
can
should definitely
decay
take
away.
these ancient Buddha statues and give them back to the Taliban. That's a good idea.
I'm sure they'll take good care of them. All right, let's see what god awful stuff we got left.
Fasten your seatbelts. There might be some turbulence.
You've taken your chances, made your mistakes, and now a final triumph.
Who are you to say that he's made mistakes? What the fuck's your expertise?
Bro,
on
the
this one?
mashup. Okay, are we just going to escape past the mashup of Sympathy with the Devil and how much it does not fit with the Indiana Jones
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah.
It's awful. It's unctuous. Who thought that was a good idea?
Nobody wants to see Indiana Jones in like the 1960s when it's a completely different culture and it doesn't fit with the classic adventure serial aesthetic. There's a reason these movies were set in the 1930s.
Yeah.
Like that's the classic age of adventure. We didn't need to see it transposed into the 60s where he's totally out of sync with everything and he's an old man and everything just looks goofy. It's so weird. It's so inappropriate for
I
Indy.
kind of like the idea of a really grumpy Indiana Jones going around just whipping hippies in the 60s at university.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be
Quite
good.
fun. But I think that's the only way you could do it. If you are going to insist on bringing Indiana Jones forward in time, then you have to make him a very grumpy and a very distinctively out of place character who actually has some worthwhile observations to make on the state of the world he finds himself in. But that would involve you in making a kind of implicit criticism of some of the things that happened in the 60s, which no one will do, and so this film won't. And it will also just basic character work, which again the film won't do. So Indiana Jones in the 60s could be used to create a really unique spin on the character, or you can just put him there and not recognize the fact that he's so out of time and out of place, which I think is what they will do.
Yeah, they're just going to emphasize the fact that he's older. That's it.
Well, I think what they're going to do is they're going to emphasize the fact that like things are better now, and you're part of like an archaic previous generation that's not appropriate anymore.
Yeah, you hit the center target. That's 100% what they're going to do. Look how much more enlightened we are here in the 60s with our sweeping race riots.
Indy! Give him hell, Indiana Jones!
Hey!
Oh,
Gimli!
John,
I know him from the other
Yeah.
films.
it's like it's nice to see Jonathan Rhys-Davies again, but at the same time, he looks dead inside in this movie. It's like this was a paycheck.
It almost
100%
looks like
just
this,
a
that
paycheck.
was his like whole scene as he drives up, gets out of the car, goes, "Give him hell, Indy."
Yeah. Okay, you just come over here, Jonathan. Now, we'll get a blanket on you.
A few times in my life, I've seen things. I've been tortured with voodoo.
I'm just gonna say as well that CGI looked terrible when they're falling out the plane. That looked really rough.
Wonder if that was one of them pickup shots. I don't know.
There's gonna be a lot.
Been shot 9 times, including once by your father.
Also, they stole.
What the
They
hell was
stole
that?
I pointed this out when initially they had revealed this. They kind of swiped the short bus chase through the streets of nebulous Indian city. They swiped that from a James Bond movie. I forget which one. One of the Roger Moore movies.
Yeah, that was
You know
Roger
what
Moore.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about? They swiped that.
But I've been looking for this all my life.
Blah.
Blah.
Okay. I can't wait to not see it. I mean,
McDonald's Indiana Jones.
that's what it feels like. It's so cheap. It's so unnecessary.
How long
Indiana-
has this been in development? I feel like I've been hearing about this for eons.
Yeah.
How long?
It's been delayed by COVID. It's been delayed by Harrison Ford getting injured. Like it's been in the works.
Which
for
is
long
like a
time.
tradition now. Every time Harrison Ford makes a film, he like breaks a hip, snaps his back in half. He's
yeah,
like
didn't-
cybernetic at this point.
Yeah.
Did the ramp on the fucking Millennium Falcon land on his foot doing like Force Awakens?
Listen,
The
it's
man
obvious.
get the job to a ramp, folks. What the hell?
Yeah.
It's like watching
He's
Biden
gonna
climb
be a
up the
replicant
stairs.
at this point, you know? How else can it make sense?
The as far as I understand it, right, they did Crystal Skull, and then the intention was that they would do another movie with Lucas and Spielberg. They wanted to do one final one to round it out, and they tossed around various ideas for several years, and eventually Spielberg got bored and moved on to other stuff, and George Lucas just kind of went, I don't fucking know. I don't know what to do with this character anymore. And then just sold it off to Disney and left, and that was it. Like he was done with it. It even took them a long time to figure out something that they could do with him. And of course, yeah, Kathleen being in charge, like the premise of it is that he's passing on the torch to a strong, empowered woman who's going to take over. So, well, shocker, eh?